is the Lukefitz Street Fighter Alpha 3 podcast with your hosts, Quest and Lukefitz.
It's showtime!
Well, hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Lukefitz podcast. I'm Luke, and as always, I'm joined by Quest. And today we have a long-awaited, much-anticipated guest on the podcast. Anybody who plays on Fightcade is probably very familiar with this man, the myth, the legend, Georgianni. So today we'll be finding out, about his unique play style, why he describes himself as a psychological player, and what it felt like to win the biggest Alpha 3 tournament to date. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Quest to kick off the interview.
Thanks, Luke. Welcome to the podcast, Georgianni.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you. And it's nice to be on the podcast for the first time in my life.
Yeah, it's nice to get you on. The name Georgianni, what is the meaning behind it? How did you come up with it?
Well, my first name is George, and I used to study in fashion classes, and it was back in the day where Versace, Gianni Versace was like the brand.
Yeah.
So everyone knew my obsession with his work. So everyone kind of just gave me a nickname, was Georgianni. And at the same time, some of my Asian friends says Georgianni. Name sounds a little bit like the woman who works in strip bars.
Yeah, right.
It kind of suits in that sort of fashion, druggy world. So I thought, okay, fair enough.
Okay, interesting. So you pronounce it Georgianni, not all kind of in one go. No, I normally read it as Georgianni. What's the authentic pronunciation?
I have no idea. Anyway, really, Georgianni.
Which sounds better to you, Georgianni or Georgianni?
Georgianni.
Okay, right. Okay, that in mind. Like Versace.
Yeah. Like it's like
wow, that is unexpected. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. So then, and when it comes to playing Street Fighter years ago, I used to, like everyone else, started with Ryu, Ken, and Guile, and then later on, when I got given this nickname, I thought, I should really take this character to the next level, which is to stick to that fashion world. So then I started looking at girl character, and then here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. When did you start playing Street Fighter? Particularly,
pretty much year 9, but through year 9 to year 12 in high school, you kind of just, only lucky to play once every 2 weeks if you go to the city or if you go to an arcade hall, and if you happen to have money, because in those days it weren't that cheap really. $1 only gets you a game.
That's crazy. Was that Alpha 3 you were playing?
Oh no, that I started in year 9. I think I came across Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, and back then it already came out like years ago already. But for those time, I thought, wow, finally someone made a game where you play 1 versus 1 rather than a lot of games out there, like on Nintendo, like 1 versus 100 enemies.
Yeah. Beat 'em up type thing.
Yeah, and I thought, it's such a fair game. So I put my money in. 10 seconds later, what? And then
it's not a fair game.
Yeah, not fair. It kind of got me into it, and it slowly grew the interest to it. Really, that's how I got into it.
Do you remember which arcades you went to?
There's a lot of fans of arcades in Discord, talking about the different. Most of them are shut down now, but the classic arcades.
Yeah, back then was one in Brisbane City called Playtime. And then, but what happened was when I started year 9, I was living in dormitory in high school, one of the sort of boys' school in Brisbane. Anyway, one teacher actually set up an arcade machine in the camp.
Really?
Yeah. And
just make a bit of money, or was it free play?
No, you had to pay money. So every lunchtime, I'll be raced there to see who's doing what. And so there's just 2 arcade machines and just crowded with kids watching it. And sometimes you're lucky enough to have $1 coin and you made it close to the machine, it's your turn.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my memory really.
Wow. So you played? Did you keep playing? Did you stop playing and then come back to it onto Fightcade, or how did you kind of find your way onto Fightcade eventually?
Oh, okay. 5K. Well, this is like after uni, I played a couple more years because there was like a arcade hall in University of Queensland, and then it stopped. And then about 5 years ago, I was on YouTube and I happened to see this word emulator popped up,
Yeah.
and about like Street Fighter, and I kind of ticked my brain and I thought, what is that? And I start looking at it and go, what? People can play arcade games at home for free? You just keep pressing number 5 key. And so here I am trying to work it out, and I was on an old PC, so I kind of set it up and just got hooked onto it.
Yep.
And then it wasn't until last year when the YouTube popped up again, playing someone online with Street Fighter. And then that's when I discovered this thing called Fightcade.
Wow, so it's quite recent. So you were kind of not playing against anybody, like not playing. So like November Golf and Dr. Ali were constantly playing against each other all the way from the arcade times up until now. But you had a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, I haven't played for years, and I kind of just never knew what it's like to play with people. And so until I used to play with my brother, but he's right next to me, so we'll have fight, in school.
Real street fight.
Yeah, exactly. And so, just sort of really enjoying it now, because once you started playing with people, then you realize there's so many uncontrollable, situations, and you don't really know what they're going to do next. Because when you play with CPU, you can kind of con them into doing something.
Yeah.
You can kind of have that formulation going. And that slowly after time, that kind of wears out your interest in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Was there someone that taught you how to play Alpha 3 or Street Fighter in general?
Yes. For years in high school, the longest I've lasted is 2 minutes. Every time I play Street Fighter.
Yeah, because someone would come and take you off the machine.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, until I went to UQ, and then this friend of mine, whose brother happens to sort of hang out in the playtime in UQ as well, in university. And then I got to know him, and sometimes I watch him play, I'm like, oh my God, you're freaking amazing. How do you do it? Yeah. And then I found out he was number 2 in the tournament overseas in Taiwan. That's where he's from.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's where I was born as well. And so I started asking him, do you mind teaching me? And so he did. He just told me the basics and things like, if you're right next to your opponent, and most people's reaction was to block. But if you just walk up half a second and grab them, people will get stunned. And so he said it's really about psychology, it's reading what people would do usually, and you find a counter for that.
That's how you play to this day. You are an absolute master of throws, like wake up games, psychological warfare.
Yeah. And then and he also when we first started the lesson, he would say, put a coin in, and I'll use Chun-Li. If you can even just touch me, I'll buy you the next game.
Wow.
$10 later, I'm like, no, and then then he taught me how to sort of read a little bit more, and also master the very basics. And I remember he telling me, if you can't even use your punch and kicks properly, there's no point doing the specials and the supers and all that.
Yeah, that's what you say to us as well, I remember.
Yeah, because I see a lot of people play, and I can see every time you finish a super or a special, there's a gap. I can go in and take you. And so, and then I really sort of like let me think back to the time when I had him teaching me. And so, for the last few months, it really got me back into that mode again.
Yeah. So did you ever become as good as him?
Oh, no way.
Where is it? Are you still in touch with him? I wonder where is this guy now? I want to play him.
I have no idea where he is. And then I left uni and pretty much just lost all contact. But all I remember was he was just naturally so good at it. And I have no desire to be as good as him. I have other things in life that I like. But I just find like the tactic that he taught me was really interesting to read people's mind. And then I also have an interest in philosophy.
Okay.
So I like reading things like, the history of Machiavelli or Chinese war.
Yep. Sun Tzu.
Yes. So you kind of read those things and you kind of play the game thinking, wow, it doesn't matter if you play dirty or you play it righteously, as long as you win, right? So since I work in fashion and I got given this nickname, and I'm gonna start using all-girl team to be like, establish this thing where everyone always have their own brand. So my brand is about a team of. So I
we're aware of that.
Taken on that persona, and that's what I've done.
Wow.
Well, you call them the pudding squad. What is the pudding part about?
Pudding squad.
Yeah.
I
didn't want to swear in case a kid was listening, like Unit Productions or something.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Unit Productions can deal with it.
Okay, you're gonna have to have a lot of beep then.
Yeah. Okay. So what does the pudding stand for?
Have you ever YouTubed a character called Pudding?
I haven't.
You have to. Then you'll know why I call them the Pudding Squad.
We'll look into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're made by, I think, Seth Green, I think. Yeah.
So what influences a character being included into your squad? So I know you definitely play Cammy. You play the other mystery dolls, Junie and Julie. You play Chun-Li. You sometimes play Sakura. Like what? So Karen. I've never seen you play Karen. I've never seen you play Armika, or like what makes a character fit into your squad?
The characters I like have to be small. So when people gonna attack you, you are a smaller target. And second, they gotta have really lean and long reach. Like that's why I also like Rolento, like the little long stick that you poke here and you kind of just steal a bit of your opponent's energy here and there, just poke, and keep poking until you get what you want out of it. So I find those characters tend to have those characteristics of like long and lean legs. I can just really quick jab from a longer distance. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So Chun-Li is your best character. Who do you consider your second best character?
Definitely Julie.
Really? I rate your Cammy so highly. Like, I honestly think she might even be better than your Chun-Li. I know we always argue about this, but I think your Cammy is amazing.
Yeah, if Cammy do have fireball, then I would say my Cammy would be way better than Chun-Li.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Her downfall is that she doesn't have any fireball attacks.
Yep.
With your combo game, you don't use combos usually. Do you plan on developing it, or are you content on playing the way you play?
For the moment, I think I will play the way I play. It's not that I don't want to learn combo, I want to. And I remember when I used to play on arcade with joystick and buttons, I was really good at what you call that game with Marvel superheroes.
Oh, really? Like Marvel vs. Capcom or one of those?
Yeah, and I used to be able to, like, when they first came out, I was so good at combo. I can do up to like 27 hits or something. But with the keyboard, I find I couldn't make it work. Like if I walk forward and I do like sort of backward half circle moves, it doesn't register it. But if I walk forward and I release the forward button just fraction of a second, and then make a sort of backward half circle move, it registers because I play on keyboard. So I find that sort of ghosting key quite frustrating. And maybe sometimes when you hold one key down, the other key doesn't work. Maybe. I'm not too sure. So there's a lot of moves that no matter how much time I've tried, it would not work. And I have a cheap, like a really cheap and nasty arcade joystick. When I try out those moves and combos with joystick, I can get it to work.
Oh,
no, get it to work on
you can
keyboard.
play. I think you can play on 5K with the joystick still. Maybe you should switch across.
Yes, but I find the joystick I have is really bad because I would not find a joystick that has very small sensitive movements that I really want. And I don't want to invest and buy one and 5 seconds later I realize not want.
Fair enough.
So if you guys got a recommendation, I'd love to look.
No, not really. I play on keyboard as well, so I wouldn't know. Maybe Dr. Alloy's new fight stick, maybe. You know that he's making his own line of controllers.
Yeah, I don't know where to try them. I love to try them, and
I think it's not out yet.
And it'll be so amazing to hear what other players use in terms of keyboard. Like, do you use Microsoft or do you use like Belkin?
I used to have a Lenovo ThinkPad, which had a really nice keyboard. That was when I was at my peak of Sakura play, and I could actually do VSM and stuff. Was with that keyboard. Then I got a new laptop that has a kind of dodgy keyboard that is a lot shallower. That's what I use now. So I struggle to do some stuff on it. But I just use whatever keyboard's around.
Oh, I'm on Apple's wireless keyboard.
Oh, wireless keyboard. Wow. I would have thought there would be some input latency with that.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it doesn't. It's really amazingly quick. And because the keys are really flat, so the time to register it's really quick.
That's why you can always throw me faster than I can tech.
I think so. Maybe you should try Apple keyboard, and it works with PC.
Sponsored by Apple.
Yeah.
You prefer not to play people who use VisM. What are your criticisms of it?
Well, being sort of a player who likes to read people and go into people's mind, I find when it comes to combo, once you get hit once, it's like a strings of disaster. And so I don't find within that 60 second of game, give me enough chance to find the joy of finding cracks. It's like, if you play with a player and 3 punch later, you lost the whole game. I rather energy to be taken away little bit by little bit, but the whole game lasts longer. So I got more time to figure out what they're about. But if I know I can't figure them out, then there's no fun for me psychologically in that. And so I kind of find it really boring when I play them. Like that player, what's his name?
Toxie, he was saying
Toxie,
to me.
yeah. He's a great player, amazing. But I find his play style are very like what you see people in tournament, and I find that really boring.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can relate to that. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and when you watch a game, I find it more enjoyable when you find someone who's really good with their mind games.
Who do you like to play against? Who from Australia do you think you have good matches with, or you enjoy their play style?
At the moment, I'm having a tough time with Wu-Tan.
Yep.
He's like, I just manage him. And then I also really, really enjoy playing you guys.
Yeah.
Not because I can win more times, but because I can see you guys actually will adapt. You guys learn what I'm going to do next, and you adapt, and I find that really interesting. But as soon as I find that you adapt, I will adapt to change that too.
Yeah.
Like a constant game of like that mind battle, and I find that really stimulating. And so, and I don't know if you guys find that.
Yeah, definitely.
If you change.
I feel like when I'm playing you, you're always one step ahead. Like I find you're the most frustrating person to play against because everything that I do, you have some kind of counter for. You have stuff that just shouldn't work, like walk up throw when I'm waking up. Whenever I block, you always throw me. And whenever I press a button, you always uppercut or super.
You want to know a secret?
What?
So when you're down,
Yeah.
I will take a 50% gamble, and
Yeah.
I'll start with, like, say, the meaty punch.
Yep.
And if you block it, then I know next time I'll try again. If you block it again, then I know third time you're gonna naturally block again. The third time I will grab because I know you're gonna block. So it's just using a few jabs to get you into a string of habit.
Yeah.
Then I know what you're gonna do next. And
Yeah, I
that's
find that you do these like long patterns that you can recognize that I do. Like normally some people can pick up on little things I do, but you're able to pick up on multiple things I do after that even.
Yeah.
So it takes me a while to like adjust to play against you, and it's kind of a bit awkward. But eventually I learn and I beat you. But then by the next game, you've already figured it out, and you're winning against me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the mind.
Like when I verse you, sometimes I try to just do random things, so you won't like know what I'm gonna do next. Like I don't even know what I'm gonna do. So.
But when you guys do random things, it really works. It really gets me.
Yeah.
I don't have the upper hand really.
Yeah, you're better at those slow-paced sort of games where you can plan it out.
Yeah.
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 When you talk to your opponents during the game, is it your aim to frustrate them?
I kind of play a little bit like how cat play with mouse, really. Kind of like I know you're there, and I kind of deliberately sometimes I deliberately try not to kill people that quick, kind of keep it there until like I don't know. Maybe I think it's the persona I'm trying to portray through this team. And once you watch putting on YouTube, you'll know what I mean. That sort of obnoxious, sort of self-centered character. So the way I play, I kind of really taken this animation character on board.
So you feel like when you play, you're kind of embodying like a psychological character. That's really interesting. I've never heard anybody say that before.
Yeah, so sometimes if I play, I just really trying to like make it what Pudding would do if she plays Street Fighter. But then when it comes to like serious games, I don't play that way though. Like if I'm in tournament, it's all about the winning.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's a good link to. I wanted to talk about the biggest Alpha 3 tournament that we've ever had so far. You won.
Really?
Yeah, that was the one that you won.
What's the definition of the biggest?
Well,
Like
it had
the
18
most
players.
entries.
It was the sixth tournament with 18 players in it.
Oh,
And you
really?
won. Yeah.
Talk us through winning that. Like we watched a lot of your videos and you were just cleaning people up with Chun-Li. Like your fundamentals were super solid. Like you were anti-airing everyone. Just you were playing really well and you beat the field. You beat everybody. Like what was your thought process there, or what did it feel like? Or just talk us through that.
When I first got into the tournament, I thought, far out, I'm never gonna win this. So why start with a small character like Kemi? Just go to the big mama straight away, which is Chun-Li. And so I forgot who I played to start with. Anyway,
Let me have a look.
took them down. Was it Raging Bull?
I remember you versus Crapper at the end in the finals.
That game was so frustrating.
Was that when he was playing Claw and he was just trying to lame everyone out?
That was the game before I played him. He was playing Dr. Aloe, and I could see he's trying to run. He jab a bit and then he runs away.
Yeah.
So then I kind of watch what he does to figure out he might do the same thing with me, which he did. But to be honest, I think Dr. Aloe deliberately not using his good character then, because there's no way I can beat him. No way. So when it comes to Crapper, I kind of knew he was going to use that tactic where he just jab a bit and fly away. So as you can see, like in the first two games, I kind of got frustrated. So I switched to, was it Aism? And that's where Chun-Li comes handy, because if someone's going to fly around, or you don't have to worry about it. You just do spinning bird's kick, and hopefully, it's like a spider web that then might fall into it.
Mm-hmm.
And
takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, and then she also has a lot of good long leg kicks.
Yep.
So for someone who keep running away, I need a character to reach him really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got him, better not let him run away. You have to play really, really clingy with him.
Yeah.
So, and I guess sometimes you guys probably may have encountered that when I play really clingy because with chunk
I
character,
definitely encountered that.
Yeah, once you run away, I can't get you back in the corner to play that 50% game, really.
So I've got the bracket up here. This is who you played. First you played Mike, you know that guy Mike Dyson or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
Grammar Police was his nickname. So you beat him 2-1. Then you beat November Golf.
Yeah, that was surprising. I don't know how that even... I think he deliberately also chose someone he's not good with.
Well, even with the characters he's not good with, he's still pretty good. So
yeah.
Then you beat Unit Productions.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I feel like you and Unit have a good relationship. Like you often play each other. And what do you have any words of advice for Unit, kind of developing young player?
I think he needs to understand the mind game. As in, like he kind of plays it like, oh, if you're gonna jump, I'm gonna do uppercut. But the thing is, I can just do a little jump straight up and down to fool you, and you might go up straight away, and I'm gonna walk forward and grab you.
Yep.
He reacts to your move, but he doesn't think about the consequences.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you played him in round 3. Then you beat Raging Bull, you beat Dr. Aloe, and then you beat Crapper in the final. So you pretty much beat all, most of the top players. And so how come you haven't been entering the tournaments recently? I think that might be the last one you entered, or one of the last ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's just purely because usually the last few Sunday nights I got like friends.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or I have to like look out for my parents during this COVID-19 times.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but if it was like Sunday afternoon, say like 2:00, 2 p.m., that probably be the best time to have tournament because Sunday afternoon everyone is free anyway.
Yeah, maybe we can move to that time.
Yeah.
No, it'd be good to have you back on one tournament to see. I think a lot of us have improved. I think like me, Quests, definitely Salty. TMB, we've all improved a lot since that tournament 7, was it? Tournament 6.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what
happens.
Yeah,
you guys have really improved a lot, like, tremendously.
But I still don't think we're beating you consistently, though.
But I find it really hard, though. It used to be like, I got this. Now it's like, I got to see if I can get 10 wins in a row. I can't even get that now.
I can't even get 10 wins in a row. That's
Yeah. Or sometimes crazy. I can't even get 5. Can't get 3. So it's just like really, I set myself a goal, and I can't get there. So you guys definitely doing really amazingly well.
I remember I tried to beat you once, and I played like 50 games until I gave up, and then I just quit. Like
I think that was the first time I ever played with you.
I don't think it was because there was before the current community, I used to play with you a while back. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, in the very beginning when I first discovered Fightcade, and I saw Aussie players, and I remember you because you kept on going and going, and I thought, wow, this guy got determination. I'm gonna like give it to him.
This guy really doesn't learn.
No, he did. He did learn. Okay. Yeah.
No, I learned, but I didn't learn that he was better. Like that's what he's trying to say. I think. You've definitely beat me a lot. But these days, I'm catching up to you.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Sometimes I really have to change my style slightly, to like get you out of norm. But definitely huge improvement there. Congrats.
So what makes you like playing Alpha 3? Like it's interesting that I feel like Alpha 3 is quite a difficult game to play, a very mind game heavy approach because Vism and I feel like you would love the early Street Fighter 2 games like Hyper Fighting or Championship Edition because they're very there's no kind of gimmicks in that game. Like there's no super, there's no like custom combos. Like it's just a very man versus man type of game. I'm just surprised that you don't really, because I remember I played you in Super Turbo once and you basically hadn't played that game much or didn't really like it that much.
No, and because there's a lot of flaw in those games, I guess each character are not designed very balanced.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I find like for example, Kemi is really downplayed in that.
Yeah, she's terrible in that. But if you got really good at Chun-Li in Super Turbo, that would be scary. Like her throws, her kind of game that she has to pressure other people and wake up is super scary. Like I'm glad that you don't play Super Turbo because of that. I don't want to play Chun-Li in Super Turbo.
Should I?
I mean, I think you should think about it. She would suit you down to the ground.
Yeah, but she doesn't have anti-air moves, which is...
Yeah, that's tricky. But you don't need anti-air if you're just constantly knocking them down and, they can't even jump.
True. Yeah, I'll think about that.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. If you were to pick up another Street Fighter game, what would it be? If you had to pick up one.
I've seen this thing called... It's a Street Fighter Turbo High Definition.
Oh, yeah. Yep. HD remix or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. And I've never played it in my life. But it looks like they're designed to be a bit more balanced.
Yeah.
That's something I like to try, but unfortunately it's not on Fightcade.
Yeah. I haven't played that either.
And the other game I really like to try is SNK versus Capcom.
Yep. That's I've heard a lot about that. Have you played that in the arcades like back in the day or?
No, I only played it at friends' place on was it Sony PlayStation? Yeah,
could have been that or Dreamcast or one of those type of things. I think had it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the second one, not the first one.
Yeah.
And it had lots of character, and I that looked like kind of fun. Well designed as well.
Could you ever see yourself playing the newer games like Street Fighter 4 and 5, with the massive tournaments and all that kind of stuff?
I don't have access to those games, so I never actually tried it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to install Steam and purchase, Street Fighter 4 or 5, and then 5 minutes later realize, I don't like this. So I like the idea to be able to try the game for maybe 2-3 days first. And then if I like it, I'm willing to pay for it. Yeah,
it's tricky. Because when I watch Street Fighter 5, it actually kind of reminds me of your playstyle. Like, there's a lot of wake-up game. There's a lot of throws. Like, it's, I think you would be interested. But I definitely know what you mean in terms of, it costs like $70 or something. So you don't want to just buy it.
Yeah.
And find out it's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And also when I watched it online, just to see what it's like, it seemed very complicated.
Yeah. There's all the V trigger and like V skill and stuff. Well, I mean, Alpha 3 is pretty complicated though. Arguably, Alpha 3 is one of the most complicated.
You think? I think the strike is complicated.
Yeah, that's true with the parry.
Yeah, like you can go forward to block. It just doesn't make sense.
In terms of quantity of mechanics, Alpha 3 is pretty complex in that way.
Yeah. It's really interesting to hear that.
Oh, in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what alpha counters are in Alpha 3?
I do, but I don't know how to activate them or use them.
It's a good way to get out of like Viism strings on block. I've been learning how to use it against Salty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting to see.
Yeah. Have you versed Salty much?
Yes, I have, and he got a bit salty.
Oh, Salty got salty. What? In what way?
He actually said to me once, "What happened? Did the game crash?" He said, "No, I went salty."
I don't think you know what it's like to play against yourself, but it's an incredibly frustrating experience because you're just so good. But when you win in such simple ways.
Maybe that's the frustrating part.
So you lose like 30 games in a row and you're like, man, he's not even doing anything. He's just like throwing and just crouching medium kick and like it's amazing what you can do with a limited set of tools.
Also another secret is when you play with an opponent, if you can sort of get them under control and maybe about within 5 games, you
Mm-hmm.
got to really pound down on them. And my reason is that you got to kill their morale. Once you kill their morale, then for the rest of 10 games, 20 games, you're going to sit there, don't do much, because they already built that sort of fear within themselves.
So how do you, when you find yourself in that situation where you have lost the first 5 games, how do you turn that around? How do you kind of make sure that you keep a winning attitude?
Oh, good question.
You've never been in that situation.
Oh, no, I have. Sometimes I switch.
Yeah, okay.
And then so I get my head out of that zone and come back feeling fresh again. Because if you keep doing the same thing, that frustration might grow.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so like when I play November Golf or when I play Dr. Aloe, those two frustrates me big time. But for some reason, I will be able to play with November Golf or Dr. Aloe over and over and over and over again. But with Toxic, is that his name?
Yeah.
I could not play that long. For some reason, I have no idea why. Still trying to find that reason.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, he is a strong Vism player, and before you were saying that Vism, is an aspect you don't like and it frustrates you. So
Yeah.
that could be part of it.
You don't get to play a lot.
But yeah, when November Golf and Dr. Aloe use Vism, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's less. You actually get to play against November Golf and Dr. Aloe a lot more. Like the round goes for longer, and you're actually like controlling your character a lot more.
Yeah. That probably be the reason. Yeah, because with Toxic, it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, bye. And then oh, here we go. Okay, bye. Boring. And then you leave.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and then like if I play that good with him, maybe, with some beginners, I would go and play, and then I would take them down the first round, and second round I kind of jump around and sort of let them have that challenge.
But you're not a beginner though. He's not gonna just let you have a round like.
No, but I'm nowhere at his level, so he could have just sort of like let me in a bit.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't, I don't find that challenge because.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So we were talking about before. You're an expert at typing in Fightcade and using the chat to kind of confuse people and stuff. So I've got a few scenarios, like game scenarios. I want you to tell me what would you type to the other person in this scenario, just so we can kind of learn your mindset. So just say you're playing completely new person, you don't know who they are, and you pick Chun-Li and they maybe pick Ryu, and it's like fairly close back and forth until right at the end, both down to almost 0 life, and Ryu wakes up super, but you predicted it and jump over and finish the round. And so you take the first game. What would you type in that situation?
The very first game.
Yeah, first game.
I would just go, whoo, and then
Yep.
see if they react. Or if they react friendly, I'll go friendly. If they react nasty, I will start going a bit,
Okay, so you throw out, it's like kind of like throwing out a fireball, seeing what they do.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and sometimes if I know this is getting too close, and I'll start to say things that distract them while they play. So things like meow, or like, I remember a few times I used to ask them question like, what's meow and ouch equal to? And then next line I'll typing meowch. Or
so you just keep their mind activated. Okay, here, I got a second scenario for you. So just say maybe against a different person, he's kind of on top, or he or she is kind of on top in the round, and then all of a sudden you get like 5 walk-up throws in a row. You throw, he wakes up, blocks, throw, and then he types into the chat, throws are cheap, stop throwing me. What would you respond to that?
I'm not throwing you, I'm hugging you.
Ah, see, yeah, that's a great. I've heard that line before from you.
Yeah, so it's just about playing that persona of the girl team, like being that concern. So
now, this is a top secret thing that's never been revealed before. Were you typing anything to Crapper in the finals of the biggest ever tournament?
I did.
You did? Oh.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, what was it?
I think I wrote like stop jumping, and he kept on going, and then I think I nearly win, and I think I eventually won, not like the whole tournament yet, and I went like, where do you think you're going?
Okay.
And then when he got away, remember I was saying something like, oh, you're good, I'm gonna get my clingy girlfriend out. And then then I
So
went
when you say
to
stop jumping, did you actually want him to stop jumping, or did you want him to keep on? Was it like reverse psychology?
I think it's reverse. I don't know. I think it's to tell him I stop it, but I know he's not gonna stop it. But I think psychologically gonna make him thinking like, oh, this works. So while he thinks that way, I have time to think of, okay, so if he's not gonna keep stop to jump, then what can I do? So I got to keep him in that zone so where he doesn't change. Because when player keep changing, you playing catch up, you can never win. Yeah. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I remember you were playing Crapper in a casual game once, and then after it he said, "Is there a way to turn off the chat box?" I think you were.
That's right.
I want that. I want that when I play against you as well. It changes things. Like it's actually like part of the game.
Yeah. I think, and that's what led me to think like the chat works, because while they play, sometimes the word pop up, and they find it something quite funny or cute, they might lose it. So,
yeah. I wonder in an offline tournament if you'd find some other way to distract them or to get to psychologically attack them. Could you think of a way to do that?
Oh yeah. That guy who used to teach me how to play Street Fighter, he also taught me, you're gonna do a fireball, do one, and hit the start button, or hit like instead of quarter circle forward punch to do a fireball.
Yeah, the fake fireball.
Yeah, and you do. At the time, I think there was Alpha 2, you can do a fake one, but he says even that's not good. He said just do a quarter circle forward kick. But when your opponent next to you hear or see your hand do something, it makes them jump. And that's when you know you got them baited.
That's when you uppercut.
Yeah. So I just find that really interesting how you can rely on external influences to influence the way they play. Like Alpha from London, I think.
Alpha 1.
Yeah. Sometimes he talks a bit dirty, so started telling him during some games like,
"Oh, you play him even with the lag?"
Yeah. And I deliberately use chat to distract him. Things like, "Oh my God, did you just my?" And then the next round when I win perfect, I always say now. And so that kind of really gets his brain like going everywhere. Then I know for the next few games, I got this. So,
okay. So you're using the way that his mind works against him.
Yeah. And everyone's different. So you just got to like feel. And I can't tell you what game I play with you guys.
Wow. That's
because
wow. So what annoys you? What if someone's typing or someone's playing against you? What really annoys you in Street Fighter?
Like typing?
No, like I'm saying when you type, you're very good at annoying people that you play against and putting them off their game. What makes you annoyed?
What makes me annoyed?
Maybe nothing.
Nothing much except Toxie's playstyle. Really.
Yeah, okay. So become an absolute beast at Via Kuma, and that's how we can annoy you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that away. So you said that before that you worked in the fashion industry and you're very into Versace.
Yeah.
What do you think about fashion in Street Fighter games? Like, what characters do you like their fashion, or what characters do you not like? What would you change if you were the fashion designer for the next Street Fighter game?
The best fashion in the whole game.
Like maybe Rose?
No.
Oh, you don't like Rose?
I say Kemi.
Okay, yeah, the blue jumpsuit.
Yeah, it's so simple. It's just like,
Mhm.
yeah, like easy to move, lots of colors.
Yeah, that's true. It's quite
Yeah,
practical.
yeah, and I can use her in the conversation to distract players.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, yeah. I just wish they had more colors.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
now sometimes when I play, I even use color as a distraction. You guys might have encountered where you beat my blue Chun-Li, I might come back and say, okay, let me try a pink one. Maybe pink one will be better.
Yeah.
And people will think like,
why do you do that? Why do you switch between your characters? So it's almost like a gauntlet. Like first you have to beat your Cammy, then you play Junie, then Julie, then Sakura.
You know what it
then...
reminds me of? Like there's Mortal Kombat games where you beat the character and then it goes up to the next character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted people who play me to have that experience of like, before you get to the mama, you have to fight all her. So it's like
Okay.
that gang going. Like, what inspired me was Kill Bill.
Oh, really? Yeah, I love that movie.
Because before she got to the big boss, she had to kill all the other subordinates.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So that means I'm Uma Thurman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So I sort of took that on board. So I
Okay.
try to take everything I experienced in my life on board with this thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What do you think is the link between your ability to read people in Street Fighter and real life? Like, are you like that in real life? Are you good at reading people?
No, not really. I also worked in sales. So I guess you have to read people to a certain degree, I guess.
Yeah, I can see how that could be helpful.
Yeah, and I just find that really refreshing and interesting, challenging. Otherwise, the work life will be the same every day.
Yeah, you don't play Street Fighter as a job.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Oh, really? Yeah. Become a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more question. Unless Quest has some more. If you could steal one attribute from another Alpha 3 player, so maybe Dr. Allo's knowledge of the game, or Toxie's Vism, or November Golf's kind of competitiveness, whose kind of attribute would you steal?
A
bit of an abstract question.
I would love to have. That's a good question. I would actually love to have the reaction of Toxie.
Yeah, that's true. He sees things much faster, I reckon.
Yeah, it's like he lived his life like the little cute squirrel in Ice Age movie, where like it just moves so fast, thinks so fast, and always on the edge, like had 10 coffees. Yeah, like that. I just feel like we must play like slow motion for him.
Yeah. You have mentioned you do a fair bit of cooking in your house. What is your favorite dish that you make?
Oh, really boring boiled chicken.
Boiled chicken?
Boiled, yeah.
Wow, what do you like about boiled chicken?
I just boil them and I strip them by hand, and then every night I cook them with different things. Yeah.
What are some things you put with it?
Some days I would do like a chicken with ginger sauce poured over the top.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or sometimes I cook mushroom and chicken creamy pasta.
Yep.
Sometimes there's many different ways, or chicken Caesar salads, or chicken stir fry.
Fried chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken pot pie. Chicken burgers.
Popcorn chicken.
Yeah, popcorn chicken. Chicken strips. Chicken and chips.
Chicken parmigiana.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
honey soy chicken.
Yeah. So I just like to cook once and then be done with all the other nights, rather than cook.
Okay. That's smart.
I just like to plan things. That's
very interesting.
Very interesting question.
Maybe is that a good place to wrap it up?
It is. I'm happy.
All right, cool. Well, It's been really, really interesting having you on, Georgianni. I'm going to tell you something. I thought that you would be like a mechanic or like a really like gruff, over the top, manly voice, like deep, low voice. That's what I pictured when I played against you.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Was I right or was I wrong? I'm not sure. But it's been really interesting hearing your perspective on everything, where your name comes from and everything. And thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. I really had a good time chatting to you guys.
Yeah, let us know if Luke is right in the comments or if he's wrong.